Sudheer. It's great to have you here. Welcome to the show. I want to quickly start with a quick introduction of yours. So it will be great if you can start and then we can start the podcast.
Excellent. Pleasure to be here, Pravin. Good to be connecting with you. We've been in doing business, I can say, probably for the last 15 plus years.
Yes, totally.
Uh,
15 plus. Yeah.
15 plus years, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing to see how you have grown and how the business has grown for Mindbowser, and amazing to see your professional and personal growth. From my side, I am Sudheer, currently the founder and CEO of Hivel. But I started as a software developer in the US, working in Silicon Valley at companies like AT&T, Merrill Lynch, Hewlett Packard. Very soon I understood that, I'm a small fish there and cannot really make so much of an impact, leading me to join a startup, early stage startup in the Valley itself. That entrepreneurship startups are something that I've been very fond of from early stage. Uh, Even in the college days, when I tried to fill the college applications for my master's, I realized how painful it was, and then I started a business around it to help people around me. And similarly, I've been always a business person at heart, and that was a company by name Truway. I think that's where we met.
Yes.
Right. Truway was an amazing journey where within 11 months of joining that company, the goal why I was hired there was to position the company for acquisition. And within less than 1 year, we got acquired by a company called Bankrate. It was a roller coaster journey, joining a company, positioning it for acquisition, and getting acquired. It was a huge, amazing leadership from Matt, who was the
Yeah.
CEO and the founder of Truway. But the beauty there was being acquired, and where this company, Bankrate, parent company, had $500 million to burn, where they wanted to acquire a lot of companies in the category. And we were one of those first of those categories to be acquired. So I got on the other side of the table where we acquired 6 companies ranging from 20 to $200 million. That taught me, in that 2-3 years, taught me what I can learn in 20 years, because I was very fortunate to have those opportunities. But once Bankrate went public, it was, again, I went to the public company and things were moving slow. I'm a fast-paced guy and wanted to join a startup again and join Shortlist. And this time, very focused on impact-based job. At Shortlist, we had so much of fun. Had teams across Nairobi, Hyderabad, Bombay, while sitting in the Valley, hiring people across all of these 20 plus countries. It was a good journey where we hired people, thousands of people who otherwise wouldn't have been hired without normal job application process. So that's the journey at Shortlist as a CTO, built amazing tech, a lot of AI, a lot of ML, all of those things, which helped us to find real talent, raw talent, to help these companies hire people. Followed by that, now that's where I am at Hivel, where we have seen how engineering leaders always struggle to understand the effectiveness and the efficiency of the engineering organization. Sitting in the Silicon Valley, I personally face this challenge to say, what is my team doing in India or Europe or Africa? Where are they getting stuck? How do I even offer help to them? Right? Just missing deadlines is not a problem to be seen as a incompetence or something, but instead you wanted to understand the root of the problem to help the team. That's what led me to start Hivel, where we want to provide visibility to the engineering teams, make the teams more productive, and companies deliver more with good quality, and while maintaining their work-life balance and being happy, right? It's not at the cost of engineering burnout.
No,
it's
this is
long stuff. That journey from software developer to Hivel.
Exactly. No, that's where I was coming to. Of course, we'll speak about Hivel as well. One of the thing, right, I want to start with is because you have a diverse career, right? You started as a developer, then engineering manager, and I always saw you as a people person whenever I speak with the other people. So I'm trying to understand, from engineering roles from major companies, even you mentioned few of them, and then founding a Hivel, right? So, how that journey started? I mean, like how that leap happened from corporate life to entrepreneurship, and of course, there are many lessons to be learned in future. But what you learned till now, what I'm trying to understand. So, any engineering guy, if you want to become an entrepreneur, so what are the lessons that you can share with them? Okay, yeah. So, like starting with the first question, again related to what you just described, right? So again, you come from a diverse career background, starting from your development role, engineering role, to working with the major companies, and then starting an entrepreneur journey at Hivel, right? As a founder, as a Hivel. So, I'm trying to understand what prompted you to take that leap from a good corporate life, being a working in the US, which is a dream of many, and then coming back to India and starting that whole new stuff, right? And which is definitely is not easy. So I'm trying to gauge, right, what are the lessons that you learn on the way? I know there are many to come in near future, but what are the lessons that you learned till now in your whole journey before founding Hivel?
Yeah, so many lessons, of course. You've been an entrepreneur and you understand how many lessons we learn every day.
Right,
See, corporate life has a lot of certainty for sure, right? Growth, not always, or it doesn't come faster because of all good reasons.
right,
But as a startup, as a founder, I'm like, no, there is a lot of uncertainty,
right,
but there is a lot of happiness.
correct,
Only if you are that person, I'm like, people say that, joining a startup is very risky,
correct. Yeah, I can
right?
hear you.
Or
Yeah.
coming back to India for good is very risky. But I feel if you follow your heart,
Mm-hmm.
if my heart is in entrepreneurship and if my heart is in India, right, taking this risk will not give me a pain. It would rather
Yeah.
still give me a lot of positivity and happiness to kind of fuel forward,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Correct. Yeah,
If I
totally.
am not, if I'm doing it for the sake of somebody else, then
Mm-hmm.
I will complain each and every day of my startup journey a
Mm-hmm.
million times a day. Or if I'm coming
Mm-hmm.
to India, I will complain about traffic 20 times, 20 times every time I come from my home to office, right? But if
Right.
you're doing it with love and that's where your heart is, I think things will
Mm-hmm.
really, really be very fruitful and we'll definitely see the reward. But even the journey still has to be fun, correct?
Yeah.
The destination has so many things attached to it. But keeping all of those aside, you can unlock your full potential when you follow your heart. And entrepreneurship or India are both tied to the same thing, is what I would say. So many lessons, right? Like founders, what happens in a corporate life in 1 year, you can see
Mm-hmm.
those many events or situations occur in your startup life within like in a day or sometimes a week.
Yeah. Agree.
Praveen, is the internet okay? Is
Yeah, I
it
can
like,
hear you. All good.
okay, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so the journey is what is very exciting. You
Mm-hmm.
have to you start your day with hiring. Probably towards the end of the day, somebody wants to say that, hey, I'm leaving the company, the one of your best resource. Or
Correct.
you start pre-lunch, you'll start to onboard a client, and post-lunch, you'll hear that some client had a problem. So it's a real roller coaster journey of your emotions, going from
Correct.
extremes of your emotions, right? Winning a
Mm-hmm.
client, losing
Mm-hmm.
a client, making a hire,
Mm-hmm.
letting somebody go, right? So it's been so much of fun, and every decision collectively you learn a lot. And end of the day, what I believe is what you were talking about. What are the lessons, right? I believe if you are making any of your choices with empathy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then your relationships get stronger.
Right.
If you are keeping self-focused, right? Because you mentioned how I'm a people person,
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always been very clear about if it has to be a mutual win-win, right? Then it's going to work for a longer term. And I
Right.
had so many cases where people, I wanted to hire them, or when they were hitting the ceiling, it's
Yeah.
always up or out sometimes, right? And I have
Yeah.
been the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
one to tell them, you have already hit the ceiling. There is no growth for you here in any of my
Mm-hmm.
previous companies, right? or you're a more smart guy, you need to be at a better place. Right? Or your career choices don't align with our current company or where we are today.
Right.
That helped me a lot. And today we have people who have been working with me since they started their career 9 years, 10 years back.
Right. Yes. No, good. So this is like definitely, and I think some of the challenges that you faced in your professional journey, I think that helped to imagine the Hivel path as well, right? I believe the product that you built, it is also came from your own experiences and own challenges that you are trying to solve. So that's good. Always good to come up with the own like set of challenges and solving that, which I saw. So again, coming back to now, like everybody is talking about AI and whatnot, right? So I'm trying to understand, being in this industry since like more than a couple of decades. So I'm just give me idea about you being in technology, right? So how you think, or maybe envision the balance between the creativity of humans and then AI capability. Of course, not today as well as changing in the next few years. That is where everybody is looking at, and mostly, of course, talking about in software development's life cycle. So where do you see, and if there is anything Hivel playing any role in that, to happy to learn that as well.
Absolutely. Right. Firstly, like, before I even touch the Hivel story, the way I look at AI is not as a technology, but how as a technology that is changing things. People should look at what are the possibilities that I can do, which I was not able to do before, right? Before applying AI to solve a problem.
Yeah, right.
Second, can I do something 10x better or 100x better because we have
Mm-hmm.
AI,
Right.
which is more democratized and accessible today, correct?
Yeah.
So it's more of like the type of problem you're trying to solve than the technology you're using, correct?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
going back to your question about how software development we are thinking about things that people don't want to do but have to be done,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
And like in software development lifecycle, there are a lot of things people can easily delegate or people don't want to do but have to be done,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is how we take it as a requirement. I'm like, when we are building any solutions or products with
Right.
AI, imagine you're running an agile sprint.
Yeah.
You're trying to do a lot of things that developers don't want to do. Create your sprints, attach epics, give story points, start your sprint, do your grooming.
Right.
There are a million things in the whole software development lifecycle, which are very manual, very tedious, and not
Mm-hmm.
something developers love doing. This is how the fundamental philosophy of how we are thinking about using AI to solve the problems. Think of it
Mm-hmm.
as more personalized developer productivity insights.
Okay.
Because if we want to do productivity insights at scale, it's easier. But if
Mm.
you wanted to kind of like somebody says, right, you cannot master the week if you cannot master the day, or if you cannot
Yeah.
master the month without mastering the week. You
Right.
cannot improve organizational efficiency if your teams are
Mm-hmm.
not improving or if your developers are not improving. Now, how
Mm-hmm.
personalized you can get with any of these things with developer insights so that every developer is becoming a better version of themselves and eventually your organization is improving, right?
Right.
And similarly, there is a lot of information that Harvard study talks about 40% of the time for mid-level management is gone in communicating what's happening. This is what we
Yeah.
call stand-up calls, retrospectives, project
Correct.
status updates and stuff, right?
Right.
Isn't all of this information already set in some data, right? It's in the data that
Mm-hmm.
people are already using it. It could be version control, it could be project management tools. But we are
Right.
just adding a layer of human to kind of consume this information and share it upwards.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there is a data, if you can apply AI to understand what a human is doing in terms of collecting the information from the dev tools or instead of humans and
Mm-hmm.
present it automatically, then you have
Mm-hmm.
real-time predictive analytics to say, is my project
Mm-hmm.
going to be on track or not? Am I
Mm-hmm.
doing proper resource allocation?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is the quality going to be on track? Right.
Okay.
So there is a lot of stuff where you can remove the human in the loop when you wanted to solve a lot of these communication challenges, when you wanted to
Mm-hmm.
kind of improve developer productivity at each and every developer level, do automated code reviews, accelerate the
Mm.
whole issue resolution part. correct? Running a
Hmm.
sprint. So it is a gamut of things on how you can actually use and leverage AI to speed up or accelerate software development. And the journey has just begun in the whole cycle. A lot of companies are coming at every stage of the process to kind of leverage AI and make software development a better place.
Great, great. No, so this is something interesting. And again, like coming back to the point where I mentioned that you are a people person, right? So empathy plays an important role. So when you add a software tool, right, which automates things, so how you are also making sure that the human touch is not missed in between, right? So that empathy remains there, and you are actually communicating very closely with the engineering team, just not a tool, right? So how exactly you are making sure that happens?
Very good question, right? We are not removing the human connection or human communication in the loop. We are enabling this communication to be more effective, more data driven.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
you are having a one-on-one, you are still going to have a one-on-one meeting with a developer.
Okay,
What data are you going to use to discuss in the one-on-one is going to be very critical. You say,
right,
Pravin, you're doing a great job. Pravin, you're not doing a good job is very
right,
subjective. The moment
correct,
you show the data and say, this is my team average, this is where you are, this is my org average, this is my expectation of you, this is why I'm promoting you, and I have a clear data, that meeting becomes super effective. The feedback
right,
loops becomes very data driven with understanding the personalized aspect of the one-on-one, right? So
yeah.
it's not replacement of the human connection. It is to make the human connections and conversations more richer.
Got it. So all everything is data driven, what you're trying bringing to the table, I believe, right?
Exactly. If
So,
you see other functions today, right, this is not, we are not reinventing the wheel. If you see sales as a function, the feedback to sales teams is very data driven.
yeah,
To say your quota is $1 million, you have hit half of it. What else I can do to help you to reach your $1 million?
agreed. Yeah,
Very clear, right?
yeah.
Now,
Okay.
where is that level of information and where is that level of discussion in engineering?
Hmm, 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 hmm.
Right? There
Got
is a
it.
huge opportunity to do this, and especially engineers being engineers and who spend more time with machines than people, they are not the ones who would always voice their opinions. They're not
Hmm.
extroverts most of the times. So
Right,
having
right.
data enables them to be more powerful with managers,
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Okay, okay.
right? So
So
it's a
do you,
level playing field.
and have you saw you on Hivel journey that people are using this tool for their performance appraisals as well, or 360 feedback?
Definitely, we have seen some companies adopting it. There is a maturity curve in this whole process. Some companies start it to be a leadership level tools. Some companies
Okay,
start with rolling it out to mid-level management and then to the first level developers.
I
We
see.
have seen, we are seeing a lot of requests. We are seeing some companies using it, and
Hmm.
developers are liking it more than the managers.
No, that's good to
And
know.
managers are liking it because they don't have to tell them, no, they have their own gut feel. And developers
Hmm.
always don't buy into the gut feel of the managers to say why you have to be promoted versus not, right? So
Right.
data is really helping them. And again, the question that I often get, Praveen, is more about what happens if you put this data in the hands of a wrong manager,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
You use this data. My counter to that, and what I have seen and what I have learned, is a manager who is, if you're thinking you're putting in the hands of a wrong manager, the manager is wrong already. So without data, he's still going to be wrong.
I see. Okay. Okay. That's a good counter.
Right?
So are there any insights uh, for managers from the Highwell? You guys provide anything around that?
Definitely, right? I'm like, see, the expectations are like, managers often sometimes they overlook how much a developer is contributing if they are not in the nitty-gritty of everyday uh,
Hmm.
operational aspects of the sprints and agile software development, correct? When they see the
Hmm.
data, it's an eye-opener for many of them to say, I
Hmm.
never knew this guy was really, uh, you know, punching in above their weight.
Hmm.
Because they never even spoke on the stand-up calls,
I see.
right? And when they see the data, they have they were surprised to see these people doing a lot of work, but being very quiet on the calls. And it happened the opposite way. Even I personally faced that problem. The person who was always very active on the call was not the one who was doing the heavy lifting on the development.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a good,
Right. So
okay.
that should not be taken as the data point. Instead, the actual
Hmm.
real work is what we should look into when we are talking to the developers or giving them the feedback.
Right, right, right. Okay, okay. So those people are not like don't want to use this tool, like any kind of black backslash from them.
No,
Those who are
see,
not perform.
I think the people, see, nobody hires people to fire them, first of all, correct? The idea is you have a bunch of
Yeah,
stuff to do, you have a lot of stuff to do, and you wanted to get the job done. We all know how
right.
hard the hiring process is.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
data is never looked to fire people. That is a misconception people think when you bring in data to the table. But data
Hmm.
is always brought in to understand their actual bottlenecks and see how they can improve towards software development.
Hmm, hmm,
Like a
hmm,
very simple example, right? We said, like,
yeah.
hey, Rahul, we have never seen you released any feature in the last 1 month.
Hmm,
That is a very
hmm.
general statement what we see. But actually, when you see the
Right.
data, Rahul has developed all the features, but
Hmm.
actually the review was never done and it was never pushed to the end user.
Hmm.
Now your
Okay.
perception about Rahul has changed completely. He is doing the work.
Hmm.
There
Okay.
is a whole process, the pipeline, and somebody else has to review the code and somebody has to merge it.
Correct.
Right now, my
Okay.
perception of Rahul has changed completely when I look at the data versus when I only saw the outcome, which is like, Rahul is not releasing features.
I get it. No, that's a really good, I think, use case that you're given. That's a good eye opener for many of the tech leaders, I would say. And this is a common use case. I mean, like that happened in the big companies where people are working hard, but their work is not being seen or even the release, right? What you have mentioned. And that's a good
Yeah.
problem that
Some
you
of
guys
these
are solving.
some of these big companies, I'm like talking to the CTOs and managers, they said most of our performance appraisals happen on the muscle memory of what this person has done in the recent past.
Yeah,
It's not a very structured
true.
approach on you're logging in everything that a person has done. And if you're doing a half yearly cycle or yearly cycle, and a manager is spending 30 to 45 minutes to do this meeting, there is no
Yeah,
chronicle of events and the achievements this person has bought in,
yeah, yeah. And
right?
most of the time it's relation based as well. So,
Exactly. We know how much people can get biased for good
yeah,
reason or bad
yes,
reason, but
correct.
data that bias and brings in a lot of clarity on both sides.
No, there's definitely. I mean, like the removing the biasness is what the founder want to or the CXO want to within the
Yeah.
company for sure. So, coming back to again understanding Hivel, right? So again, there are a lot of things happening in the tech industry, right? Including LLMs, AI models, and the different trends that are happening. So, how you are thinking in terms of the product roadmap that will align with the emerging trends in software compared to what it were few years back, right? And of course, competitor is one of the thing that of course you need to keep an eye as a founder. So give me some idea or give some idea to the audience about what is coming for the Hivel in coming months or maybe next few releases, and how you're making sure that you are aligned with the competition out there, ahead of the competition, not only aligned.
Yeah, all of us are trying to play that game of, we wants to get ahead of the
Yeah.
competition and a competition wants to get ahead of you. It's a fun game, I would say, as an entrepreneur. But the way we are looking about it, Praveen, is we have analytics, right? Hivel is nothing but analytics for software engineering teams.
Right.
Analytics is a very, while data is always there, with the amount of data somebody has access to, if you don't know what to look for exactly, there is a
Mm.
data literacy problem in how do you want to read a graph or read the data or how you want to interpret the data. And then there is a what action should I take from this data, right? These are
Mm.
the two
Mm.
bigger problems current leaders are facing when they look at any analytics tool, not only Hivel or it could be a product analytics
Okay.
or anything. What we are learning from the end users and where we are actually focused is remove the cognitive load of from the leaders to understand the
Okay.
data from all these metrics coming from various sources and clearly
Hmm.
surface the actionable insights, what action they can take based on these insights, which are
Okay.
very personalized, and getting the data from across the tools, across the metrics to show. I'll give you a small example. If you're looking
Yeah.
at speed and quality, speed and quality, right? Just let's take two dimensions. If somebody is delivering fast, would you reward them?
Yeah.
Versus, I always wanted to see the quality also, if they're breaking things fast, equally fast. Now, somebody has to keep an eye on both speed and quality. Versus if I said, hey, your speed is going faster, but quality is declining, then that is what the leader wanted. Now imagine and extrapolate this problem to dozens of metrics across dozens of data tools that we are getting. So we are making this whole process simpler, giving a simpler score called Hivel score. It's like how we are also used to doing SEO score or page load scores, right? Similarly, we are increasing a Hivel score, which is going to immediately tell you if the company or the team is going in the right direction.
Okay.
And based on this score, just like how your FICO score, credit score is happening, what are the areas you need to work on so that you really get to the best of your Hivel score, correct? So
Okay.
it's a lot more easier to understand where do I stand and what do I need to do to become better or get a better score.
I
Right? So
see.
we are
I see.
cutting the whole nitty-gritties away from the busy leader and surfacing these insights in a very actionable and easy to bite-sized insights style.
Okay, that's good to hear. So, is how exactly it is similar, or maybe to Dora matrix? I mean, that is a standard word used in the industry. How
Yeah.
you are actually you are changing the status quo, or like you are adding your own kind of measurement system within the IT industry, or you are actually aligned with the Dora?
No, we are completely aligned with the DORA and space. We are not kind of
Okay.
reinventing the wheel there. But how do you read the DORA metrics? How do you read the space metrics? And how do you combine all of these things to get the actual insight and what action can you take as a leader? Correct? Every company and every team has their own business context, which needs to be aligned to understand what is the high-level score for them. A platform engineering team versus a product engineering team versus a AI ML team, they all act differently. So you cannot think all of them are going to ship equally, or a mobile team, for example, correct? So
Right,
there is a
right.
different context to each of these things, and kind of thinking everybody has to be in the same speed or same pace is a wrong expectation.
Correct. Totally. Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned again, like coming back to the old part where you mentioned the data where it needs to be that data should speak, right? And you're giving you good insights. And also, I feel like just listening to one of the podcast of Odo founder who I think very fast these guys are growing. So one of the thing he mentioned also, if like because again I'm talking from engineers perspective, they are software engineers are mostly introverts, right? So they don't often communicate properly. They are doing hard work. So he like mentioned one of the line where I clearly connect that even the hardest work lose its impact if it's not effectively communicated. I think Hivel playing an important role communicating, and I think standing for these engineers and communicating what they're doing for their managers or the top leaders, right? I think this is great to like somebody is standing and talking about like believing in them and making sure that you're actually telling about the data, what they're doing. And also it's good the way to get the feedback, a constructive feedback about what quality of work you're doing and how you can improve. That is where a biggest gap I feel in the industry. There are static analysis tools and stuff, but they are just again the kind of a rule-based engines, right? What I see. So I think
Yeah,
Hivel is, I think that is where you guys are differentiated.
exactly.
Um,
That reminds,
yeah,
that's very closely connects to my personal story, right? I'm like, no,
yeah,
software developer traveling from India to the US, did a lot of hard work, but very bad at
hmm,
marketing to say to communicate the work that we have done and the impact we have created. Whereas I had my counterparts who were probably working half the time or half the work.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
they were definitely outshaining. And the gap is about communication, like you rightly said, because there was no data and it was just about who speaks how.
Yes, exactly. No, that I see all the time. That is, I think, the difference between the engineer and kind of non-engineer people, that they communicate well. They maybe, as you mentioned, they work less, but then they have that kind of a skill, right? At the end of the day, it's a skill. But yeah, I mean, like that's how the things are. and it's a good platform. I think you guys are creating for the introverts so communicate better. Great, great. So again, like adding to come your entrepreneurship journey, right? So one of the thing there are a lot of Gen AI startups I'm seeing from last couple of years, right? And I think the things are going bit down. What I hear from the Bay Area that the startups still like finding out the right perfect fit or the perfect positioning or value proposition for the customers. So what kind of advice you can give to the aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to leverage this Gen AI space and they maybe just started or wanted to start? So, what are the common pitfalls to avoid?
Like I alluded before, right? The fundamental area to start with is to say what problem you're solving and for whom. Not
Hmm.
knowing those two things and getting into Gen AI as the solutioning is a wrong approach. That's the number one thing what I have seen, right? Just because you have Gen AI solving a specific problem versus there is a real problem, there is a real customer, and I'm solving this
Yeah.
problem for them. I was not
Hmm.
able to solve in the past, right? The
Hmm.
example I gave you, how Hivel is thinking about it is like, you can give organizational insights and team level insights, but if you wanted to give
Yeah.
personalized productivity insights at a developer level, now think of
Hmm.
this at any function, right? Any industry, there is a lot of personalization that can be done, right?
Okay.
That is a
Right.
step one. Understanding the real customer, real pain point is a step one. Step two, we still have a long way to go with Gen AI. And I think people have to validate their idea before doubling down on it. It's very easy to burn money. It's very easy to get very advanced in technology. But if you are not able to validate something with an end user who is ready to say that, I love this value, I love the product, I can pay for it, you are going too far, right? Like
Yeah.
Mark Anderson said, if you're not embarrassed about your first solution, you're too late to launch it, right?
Right.
Uh,
Right. Right.
so
And I believe you. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, you need to solve the real problem and make sure you validate it, right? Be
Exactly.
very excited about the technology, more excited about the solution and offering.
Right, right, right. And coming back to what I was telling about this Odo founder, so he mentioned one of the thing like he still work closely with the customers and finding out where are the gaps and how he can automate them, how he can add efficiency in that. So I believe you being founder, I know you have been closely working with the your customers as well and finding out how they are using the product, what are the there are things that you can again improve in that whole ecosystems. Any specific story you want to share, like any of the customer where how they're using the product? Mm.
It's an interesting story. I'll share it because it's anyway public information.
Okay,
Uh, we had a customer by name Shiprocket. A
okay,
lot of people in India would know them,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right, right.
They're one of the challenge they were trying to focus on is to improve the quality. And they were always trying to focus on quality improvement and trying to do all as many things as they could to improve the quality. But when we
Hmm.
applied Hivel, when they started using Hivel, the
Uh-huh.
very like the VP was very strategic there, the CTO and all. They looked at the data and they said, I think we are going a little faster than what we should be. That is why the quality is a
Okay,
problem. And they
I
said,
see.
let's slow down a bit, give more time to the developers to do a better job of
Hmm.
code review process and see the
Okay.
results. Because they realized in the spirit of going fast, they were cutting corners in terms of code review
Hmm.
process, which was coming
Okay.
to bite them back at a later production quality.
Hmm.
Right now, they said, we're going to take less tickets than normal, make sure teams are spending time on code review, and see what
Hmm.
happens. And it's not
I
a
see.
journey to show immediate value, right? Because if you're doing your code
Hmm.
review better today, the better quality will
Hmm.
start to show in 3 to 6 months. It's not going to show up tomorrow
Right,
because today's bugs are the
right.
sins that we have committed 6 months back. Right?
Agreed, agreed.
So they had the courage and the appetite to take this in a slow and
Hmm.
data-driven way. That hey, we are not just
Hmm.
slowing down for the sake of slowing down, but we are also focusing that we are improving more. We are spending more time on code review process. Correct?
Right.
Actually, reduce their
Hmm.
production bugs by 22%.
Wow, that's quite a big number, I would say.
Right?
How
Like
much time that was, like within?
this is a journey of 4 to 6 months. They started to see this.
Nice. No, that's a quite an improvement. I mean, like 20% bug reduction, and that actually has a lot of other impacts, right? I mean, like customer satisfaction
Exactly.
and again rework and whatnot, right? So that's kind of yeah,
And
it's
what
like big
improvement is the
success
developer
story. I
burnout.
mean, yeah,
Developers were
exactly.
happy because they were planning for to build X, and every time they get interrupted with production bugs, they have to do
Yeah,
context switching, and context switching doesn't yield the best of the productivity. Correct.
agreed,
So
agreed.
that improved their developer happiness and customer happiness both.
No, that's totally, and production bug can add a ripple effect on other things as well. So it's good that you're a great success story there, I would say. Uh, like one of the question that again, as I started as well, right? So you build strong relationships with the people, right? And I have also connected with you from last 15 years. Saw that how you work with the people, and I'm so again like balancing the nurturing these connections. This is something hard for like anyone as a human being, and mostly you are working with the introvert people, right? So all the time because you being a CTO and engineering manager. So how actually you made those connections? I'm still trying to learn how you're actually connecting with the introvert engineers and making those close connections.
Maybe because I was an introvert, I'm able to connect easily. See,
No more
not
now, right?
very
So
formal, very not now. But see, what engineers are introverts, but what they don't like is the marketing fluff. They want to
hmm,
get straight to the point,
hmm.
right? They're very
Okay, good
logical
point.
people, correct? Because
Yeah,
they're spending a lot of time on logic. So if I'm telling
correct.
about X, Y, and Z, they tell me ask you a very direct question: What's in it for me that I can use today? How is it going to help me do my job
Hmm,
better? Right?
hmm.
If you're not directly helping them, if you're not directly getting to the point, you lose their attention.
I see. Right, right. No, that's a good takeaway for me as well. Okay. So I
So
can
that's
connect
the
that
only way.
logics. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
resonating with
No,
their
but I
problem.
even like apart from that, I saw like whenever you are traveling or whenever you're traveling to any part of the city, right? You're always trying to make sure you set up some time to meet these guys, the old connects, right? And
Yeah,
then that's how I think that's one of the thing to be, and that is hard for the introvert. I mean, that is what I'm coming to. It's not easy for an introvert person to go out and speak, right? So I think that role you played very well throughout the years I saw, and I think even today when you travel,
yeah,
like we just spoke, right? When you're here, like we should meet. But yeah, of course, now it's different league altogether. You have to meet people.
yeah.
But yeah, that's a good takeaway I would take from this podcast and others as well. One of the last question I'm coming to is because you have been part of that journey, right? So as an Indian professional, when let's say anybody is working in a Silicon Valley, what are the perspective advantages that you believe an Indian origin tech leader bring to the table? Like, I mean, of course, the shaping the future of this technology and innovation that we're doing. How do you see that influence evolving in the coming years, and especially in the context of global challenges? I mean, whatever you saw and today also, and in coming days, I think those will going to there will be more challenges what we had in past compared to that. I mean, so what do you think?
Yeah.
What are the mm, things you want to put into the table, like for those people?
See, we have a couple of advantages definitely where we are uniquely positioned, where life in India
Mm-hmm.
has taught us without us even realizing it. One is
Mm,
surviving in chaos, right?
mm, good.
Imagine getting into a train in Mumbai versus getting into a train station in San Francisco, right?
Yeah,
San Francisco, it's certain, and you can easily form a line, and when you get your turn, you get into the train. In Mumbai, you don't form a
right.
line, you are all automatically put into the train. Correct. So, like you said, the global challenges are the chaotic. It has
Yeah.
become a more chaotic world. Correct. It has become less
Mm,
certain. And since I started the
mm,
company, we
mm,
went
mm.
through multiple economic um, downturns or like all those events that we haven't seen in the last 10 years, maybe, right? Like, we have seen like what happened in the last 10 years, the last 2, 3 years. But just surviving in chaos, adapting and being resilient are like things that we have learned as Indians. Now you take this part of the spirit to build a company and combine that with your technical expertise. I'm like India is all about mathematics, right? I'm like no mathematics and engineering. So it's a combination of the soft skills that are required to build your entrepreneurial journey plus your technical expertise is where we are uniquely positioned and advantageous to build a global company from India.
Awesome. No, that's some good points there. I would say, like, for the people who again, like, who are willing to come from US to India, as well as starting their entrepreneur journey. A couple of questions that I'll end this podcast normally with other people as well. One is with you. Wanted to understand, because you saw both sides, engineering side of things, and now sales, being a founder, doing all the things. So, what, sales or engineering?
Sorry, what is the question? Engineering
Or sales? What you love today? Doing sales, or still like being part of the engineering culture?
If there is a chance, I would always be leaning towards engineering. That's what my sales team has to pull me. Engineering team has to push me to get away from them.
Okay, okay. And the last question I always ask to fellow friends and the founders is how you balance the mental health and work, like, because that is the challenge for being a founder. So how you're doing
Yeah.
it?
See, what I've learned over the time is mental health is not something that you fix every year or every 6 months. It
Yeah,
has to
right.
be fixed at least on a weekly basis.
Correct.
I cannot take that longer than 1 week. And it could be sleep or it could be the roller coaster ride I'm having in a week. I need
Hmm.
to end up with the week and I have to start fresh with the same level of highest energy on Monday morning. So,
Good.
how my week goes Monday through Friday defines how I spend my weekend. I'm like, I want to do what I like the most. That should make me and prepare me for the Monday,
Monday.
right? I cannot take it longer. I'm like, if I'm having a 18-hour work day, then I need to catch up with the sleep deprivation by Saturday or Friday night at
Right.
the best. I cannot continue that for longer. That is what helps
Hmm.
me to kind of rebound faster. And, otherwise, you'll make bad choices on the next Monday, which leads to more bad choices and more bad
Agree.
outcomes. So the repercussions are badder, right?
Nice. Yeah, yeah. So sleep is one of the thing. Any other things you do, like meditation or something?
Definitely. I've been a subscriber of Headspace for fourth year in a row now.
Wow, that's good.
What I believe is you need to have an environment to get your workout or meditation done.
Hmm.
Because every time you want to do a meditation or you want to work out, you should not think what I should do now. You should already
Hmm.
right, having those systems and like a time and a place and exactly know what to do should already be predefined in my case.
Correct. Hmm.
So when like 6:30 is your time to work out, that is your only spot and you have to go for a workout.
Yeah, no
And if you
option.
want to do meditation right after workout, then that's my anchoring point. I should not come and say, okay, what video should I watch or what audio should I listen to meditate?
Hmm.
Right? So
Got it.
those are all already predefined. That
Hmm.
makes the choice or the decision making process a lot easier when you're thinking if I should meditate or not, if I should go to the gym or not. Those
Hmm.
decision points become a lot easier.
Nice, nice, nice. No, this is good, and I think you're doing it more consistently. Being a founder, now you have to, so that's good. Great, yeah. Thanks, Sudhir. I think these are some of the great takeaways from tech leader like me, as well as people who are going to watch. So yeah, thank you for being on the podcast, and always good to hear from you and learn. Thank you once again.
Likewise, congratulations on your whole journey, Praveen, and wishing you more. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.